Hola, buenos dias. In this video, we're going to look at telling time in Spanish. I'm going to show you some different ways that you can answer the question, what time is it? And also we'll look at the question, at what time things happen. So let's start off with what time is it? The question for that is, ¿qué hora es? Literally, what hour is it? There are two different ways that I can start my answer to that question. They're in italics. The first one is son las, and the second one is es la. I'll explain the second one in just a minute. So if I want to say it's 5 o'clock, I'll say son las cinco. For example, for 7, son las siete. So I can just put the number for what hour it is after the son las. Pretty straightforward, right? Son las 12 for it's 12 o'clock. For 3:05, I could say son las 3:05, or just son las 3:05, depending on what Spanish-speaking country you are in. You will or you won't use that E right there. Son las 4:10, son las 4:10. For 8:15, there's a couple different ways I could say that. I'd say son las 8:15, or over here, son las 8:15. The word cuarto is kind of like a quarter, so it's saying like it's a quarter past 8, basically. I forget to fix this. Okay. Oh, that one's right. All right, so this one right here for 9:30, I could say son las 9:30, for literally it's 9:30. Or over here, I could say son las 9:30, and that word media is like half past 9 o'clock. 9:45, I have 3 different ways that I could say that. So the first one is son las 9:45. So that's literally, it is 9:45. Now, much like in English, we can say it's 15 till an hour. There's a couple different ways I can do that in Spanish. The first one right here, you're actually kind of using a subtraction. So I can say son las 10 menos 15. So it's 10 o'clock minus 15, which makes 15 minutes before 10 o'clock is 9:45. And then I can also substitute that 15 for that word cuarto, which I told you about just a minute ago, or over here. And then the other way I can do it is son 15 para las 10, saying kind of like it's 15 minutes until 10 o'clock. And then I got one more example for you. For 11:55, I could use the long answers, son las 11:55 for it's 11:55. I can use the subtraction option again right here, where I have son las 12 menos 5 for it's 12 o'clock minus 5. Or I can say it's 5 until 12, which is son 5 para las 12. And then I mentioned a second ago that there are 2 ways to start your answer to the question, ¿qué hora es? The second one is es la. So let me explain to you when you'd use that. So es la, you'll use when you're going to talk about it being 1 o'clock. So if I want to say it's 1 o'clock, es la una. Now, if you're wondering why do I say es la instead of son las, look at it as things being plural or singular. If you have one thing, it's singular. If you have more than one thing, it's plural. So 1 o'clock is a singular hour, whereas 2 and above would be multiple hours. So that's why the 2 through 12 will be son las, the plural version of the verb ser, and es la will be the singular version of it. It's kind of just how it is in Spanish. So es la una for it's 1 o'clock. Oh, and it's feminine because la hora is feminine in Spanish. It's 1:15, so I can say es la una. When I put that in space, es la 1:15, or es la una. Oh, I know I did it wrong here. Sorry. So I say es la 1:15 or es la 1:15. Or again, I could use that word cuarto, es la 1:15 if I want to. And then for 12:50, now you're wondering, why am I putting 12:50 on here if it's 1 o'clock or if it's not 1 o'clock? Well, if I'm going to say it's 1 o'clock minus 10 minutes, then I still have to use the es la because I'm saying es la una. You never use son las before una, basically. So this is using the whole subtraction idea. It's 1 o'clock minus 10 minutes. Or again, I could say it's 10 o'clock, or it's 10 minutes until 1. Son 10 para la una. So what about the other type of questions? So I have a qué hora questions. This is at what time do you go to the store? Or at what time do you go to bed? At what time do you watch this TV show? What time does this TV show start, for example? So you're not going to use the son las or the es la if you see a question start with a qué hora. Because if I said, what time do you go to school? You're not going to say, it's 8 o'clock. I'm going to say, I go to school at 8 o'clock. So the word at, I've put in italics in these sentences over here, I think, anyway. Yeah, oh, there's some of them. Okay, so if I want to say, this is a question, ¿a qué hora vas a la escuela? At what time do you go to school? And I go to school at 4:20. It's a weird time to go to school. Voy a la escuela a las 4:20. So I'm saying I go to school at 4:20. The word at in this sentence is this a las. Now I also have the option of saying a la. And the difference is the same as the difference as it was up here with the es la and the son las. You're going to use the a la, the singular one, when it's a 1 o'clock time. So, voy a la escuela a la 1:10. So I go to school at 1:10. So use the singular one for 1 use the a las for everything else, basically. I got one more example for you. ¿A qué hora tomas la siesta? So what time do you take your nap? 3:45. So again, if it's 3:45, I can say that time in a few different ways. Tomo la siesta a las 3:45. Tomo la siesta a las 3:15, or tomo la siesta a las 3:15. So these two, I'm saying like it's the 4 o'clock minus the 15. I can still do that if I want to. I'm just using the a las instead of son las in my time. And then what about PM or AM? Basically, you just have to add the words de la mañana, de la tarde, or de la noche after the time. So on these examples up here, if I wanted to say it's 7 a.m. or 7 in the morning, I'll just say de la mañana after it. So I'll give you a couple examples down here. Son las 8 de la mañana would be it's 8 in the morning. Son las 3 de la tarde, it's 8 in the afternoon. Or with the example of the at a certain time, tengo mi clase a las 8 de la noche. I have my class at 8 at night. So you just put this at the very end of it. Pretty straightforward. I think that is all I wanted to explain to you in this video. Hopefully it was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know. And also the document that you see on the screen, I'll make available to you in the description of the video via a link. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more. Drop a like if you did, and adios.